York. 6 teams are playing in this state. Oh, that's right, Memphis. Oh, it's such a beautiful time to be a Memphian. It's such a beautiful time to live. It's just such a good time to be alive. And I can tell you one thing. It's great to listen to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour right now. I got my very good friend at G_Coon 71 hanging out with me as always. We're always cutting it up, and you can reach him at G_KUHN 71 on Twitter. And then you can also reach me at Johnny_Radio on Twitter as well. And you know it's
John, guess what, man? We got a fancy new stream on Periscope, man. We got a fancy new camera. I'm on it now. I'm on it now. See that one right there? Look at it. Look at it. Enjoy it. I'm on it too, man.
I look good.
So now we can, yeah.
Yo,
that's
dude.
Nice.
I know I look
Hey,
good.
but a little
y'all.
piece of news for our Tiger fans out there. Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, who had a really good year. I think that defense did a good job.
Hell of a year.
He will not be coaching in the Cotton
I
Bowl.
already
Not
knew
really
that.
much of a surprise as far as because he is going to Florida State. He did his presser there opening. So you not really surprised by it, but it is has come down the pipeline as far as, Ryan Silverfield officially making the announcement he will not be coaching in the Cotton Bowl.
It's kind of like telling me, no offense. It's like telling me, never mind, I can't say that really, can I?
I don't know what you were going to say, but I'm assuming you can't say it.
When the Tooth Fairy saw me so good looking, that's why she left me a hundy. That was just a joke, y'all.
Oh
Anyway, it's time.
We can get John Luke on the phone.
It's
Get John
time
Luke on the phone.
to talk some beautiful, beautiful talk with my good friend John Luke McCord. And we're going to talk a little college football. We've been talking a lot about Joe Burrow. We've been talking Jalen Hurts. We've been talking Heisman. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Heisman. I've been talking a lot about the NFL and what could have been. And I want to ask John Luke, because I don't think a lot of people even realize this. It bothers me. And I guess it bothers me just because I'm old. I realize this. John Luke, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. Sounds like you guys are having some fun today.
Oh, we are having so much fun. Drew, he topped Peyton Manning last night, 541 touchdown passes. He's the baller. He's the shot caller. He went 29 of 30. I said last night that nobody in the history of the game is better at dissecting zone coverage than Drew Brees. I also said nobody runs more zone coverage than the Indianapolis Colts. Take New Orleans Saints. Don't sweat it. You will be a rich person. Now, if I had money last night, believe me, I would have been betting like it's going out of style, but Christmas killed me. Unfortunately, I didn't get to load up on what I gave all the rich people. Hopefully, they got happy and won. But what did I wanted to bring this up for the reason I brought this up, John Luke, is because I wanted to bring up the what ifs. And I wanted to ask you, because you're a youngster, and I don't know if you realize this, but we can go way back when. And if you think about this, there was a point. Breeze, the young man who couldn't get a deadgum offer out of Texas, couldn't go to Texas, couldn't go to A&M, couldn't go to SMU, couldn't go to the Mean Green. Joe Tiller gives him a scholarship. He goes to Purdue. Doesn't get a first round pick. He's not the dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's never been the dude. Goes to the Chargers with LaDainian and Tomlinson. And by the way, I don't think people realize Mike Vick, the Falcons, traded an extra pick to move up to take Mike Vick. Do people realize that? Did you know that?
I knew he went number one. I didn't know how the Falcons got up there to get him.
Yeah, think about this. If the Falcons had not traded up in the draft for Michael Vick, there's no way San Diego gets LaDainian Tomlinson and Drew Brees with their first two picks in the draft. Think about the trajectory of the Falcons and where they've gone with Mike Vick. Think about, Drew Brees' career. And then you have, of course, Drew Brees tears up his arm. They bring in, of course, Eli Manning. They do the whole thing with the Giants. They get Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers and San Diego Chargers are history. But do you realize that my man Drew Brees was sitting in South Beach, sitting in front of Nick Saban begging to sign the contract. Begging. And Nick Saban wanted him. Wanted him so bad it's not even funny. But the quote higher ups and the owner who let them look at Drew Brees and Dante Culpepper said that Dante Culpepper was less of a risk and will have a longer career than Drew Brees. Those doctors should be fired for sure if they haven't already been. But I want you to think about this and answer me this. If Nick Saban would have gotten Drew Brees to Miami, would Nick Saban have ever gone to Miami? I mean, would have ever gone to the Saints?
Or would Nick Saban?
I mean,
end up in Alabama?
would he would have ever left? Would he? I can't. My brain is not even working.
I don't.
Because
I don't
I'm thinking
think
about,
he would.
I'm thinking about Drew Brees, what he did with the Saints last night. What I'm saying is, if Drew Brees was doing what he did for the Saints in Miami, like Dan Marino, would Nick Saban have ever left Miami to go back to college and coach at Alabama?
I don't think it would have been Alabama because I don't think it would have been at the point he came back to college. I think that certainly he would have had an impressive run. I mean, you look at Nick Saban, and we talk a lot about evaluations and how he recruits. He obviously had made a great evaluation there and was on to something. So I don't know that Drew Brees' career plays out like it has either, to be honest with you, though, because you look at what Brees had been able to do in San Diego with LaDainian Tomlinson. I think that's kind of what Nick Saban was thinking there as a package. Let's go get a star running back. Let's feature him, and let's have a really, really accurate quarterback who is not known for absolutely shredding teams, as Drew Brees has become known for. He's not. It wasn't yet known for that guy that could torch you down the field time and time again. So I think Nick Saban wanted one of what he felt to be one of the league's most accurate quarterbacks. I think he wanted to pair him with a star running back, and that's what he wanted to go with there in Miami. Obviously, they went with Dante Culpepper, the Madden 2001 cover boy, and things did not work out. He played some 9 quarterbacks or whatever it was in the next few seasons.
I think it's interesting, though, because Sean Payton definitely had a lot to do with what Drew Brees is right now as well. I mean, Nick Saban, for all of his glory, at the college ranks, as an NFL coach, he wasn't all that good. There was a lot of things going wrong with his, the ships he was running there. But I want to, as far as his team now, right? Alabama, this is their first year out of the college football playoff. And it's got to feel incredibly weird if you're an Alabama fan or a player on that team. Do you think that they're going to be ready to play against Michigan in the Citrus Bowl?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think that game means a lot more for Jim Harbaugh and that Michigan program. And frankly, look, when you're looking at bowl season, that's what you got to look at, right? The teams that are going to show up with more care on their side. I think Michigan needs that win for their brand, for their program to sort of validate what Jim Harbaugh and those guys did do down the stretch. And so I think that game's going to mean a lot more for Michigan. Frankly, look, I'm not a Harper here. I don't speak on him with the greatest of praise all the time, but I think they've got a chance to get a big win because I just don't think Alabama is going to care a lot. Obviously, the injuries have plagued them as well. They're going to have trouble slowing down Shea Patterson and that group. So I think Michigan's got a great shot to win there. I think one of the most interesting storylines around that Alabama program, I mean, it'll be more for the off season, but how many of these guys come back? How many of these guys need to come back for their draft stock and are going to come back? Obviously, Tua is going to be the headliner there, but that's really the most interesting thing around that Alabama program for me. If they do go out and win that game, it'll be because Najee Harris, Mac Jones had a big game and were able to propel them.
Has there been any conversations as far as have you heard of anybody sitting in that game? I haven't got to see any of that.
I haven't called any of that. So I mean, Najee Harris is one guy that you would think that might want to sit and chill in that game. So obviously, Alabama's always going to have some pro prospects. I mean, you could argue that Raekwon Davis has set in some of the games he's played in, and that's been sort of some of the problem there along that defensive front. But I haven't seen any specific guys that said they're going to sit out in that game. No.
Now, since you bring up Alabama and you're talking about them playing against Michigan, how big of a game is it for Shea Patterson and his draft stock?
I mean, it's pretty big, I guess, as far as what college games could do for his draft stock. He could certainly go out there and show, hey, he can throw it against a solid secondary, and it'll maybe be one of the most watched games that
He didn't
had
have
here
a
in his
bad
senior
year now at the end of the
He
season.
really hadn't.
He
I just don't
didn't.
think he's a pro quarterback. I think he's more of a college-built guy, and I think that's the reason he came back. And he can run around. He can throw the ball accurate at times. I just don't know about consistency and, frankly, arm strength for him going towards the next level. Yeah.
Man, see, I think he has such a strong arm. He throws it. I think the problem that he's always had is he's never had anybody to actually teach him how to throw the football in rhythm. He always is throwing off of his back foot. He's always throwing, from a funky, like a baseball. You can tell the man played a lot of baseball when you watch him play. And if somebody would teach the kid to, hey, play the quarterback position in the proper way, 6'2", 210 pounds, he can put on a little bit of beef. And the guy has, honestly, if he would step into a throw and learn how to actually do a 3, 5, and a 7-step drop and read defenses, he's got a damn cannon.
And frankly, though, but here's the deal. We're looking at the same issues that have plagued him since that freshman season he took over late in the year for Chad Kelly at Ole Miss. And it was the same issues he had at Ole Miss. He tried to run away from that program there that had NCAA sanctions coming on him, but he hasn't run away from his issues. And frankly, that's what I'm talking about when you look at arm strength. Yeah, he can whip it down the sidelines, but some of that zip and accuracy, getting it over the middle of the field where you've got to take advantage of defenses in the NFL if they're going to give it to you, that's where he's not accurate. He's always
I just don't think he reads defenses,
pocket,
to be honest with you. If you watch him play, in all honesty, he doesn't look off the safety over the middle. He is a guy who knows where the ball is going in the first thing. I don't think he understands the game of football.
And then he needs, as far as his college career has gone, he hadn't had any continuity as far as an OC goes and what system he's trying to be a part of. Because Michigan,
if you trace him back to his 10th grade year of high school, I'm not sure he's had the same coach more than 2 seasons since then. I mean, he moved around schools a lot in high school. He moved around schools, obviously, a couple times here in college. And I think that's a great point, Gabe. I mean, because what you could argue is, hey, he did have Dan Werner at Ole Miss. And certainly of all the things going on at Ole Miss and the things with Freeze, I mean, Dan Werner is a solid, proven quarterback coach in college football dating, well beyond the 2000s back into the 80s. And so, I mean, he's been around some good coaching. I don't know how
he
well
has the
Shea
worst
takes the
for a
coaching.
guy, though, by the way, and this is the one thing I want to, and realistically, he reminds me of Jacob Eason in this aspect. When Jacob Eason came out of high school, his first year at Georgia, he looked more fundamentally sound than he did this year under a Chris Peterson, who's I know is a great coach. He wasn't fundamentally sound. It's weird. Year after year, Shea looks more that he relies basically just on his arm talent and nothing about being a physically sound football player.
Yeah, it does start with footwork for him, but frankly, look, I think he relies on some of that athleticism. He knows he can move around, and he just goes to it too quickly. You mentioned a moment ago that he sort of knows where he wants to go with the football before the snap, and when that first guy, when that A option is covered, yeah, I mean, his feet betray him, I think, and certainly that has been a big part of it. Again, I would say this when you look at a guy that's as talented as he is, and it's ironic you mentioned Jacob Eason, they were the 1 and 2 in that class as far as quarterbacks go. I just don't know how much Shea is listening to coaching because it's been some of the same issues at both programs in all 4 years of his college football career that he's had. He's battled those same issues we're talking about right now. And frankly, if you try to go to the NFL and frankly you're a prospect that it looks like teams are going to maybe be taking a chance on, then you just can't come in with that mindset. And so I know that the NFL is always where Shea has wanted to get, like a lot of college football players. So maybe things change, but it's hard to predict things will change when they've been pretty consistent in the way they have been for him over the course of 4 years.
John Luke, me and John had a really interesting conversation, especially about Joe Burrow earlier in the show. And it has to do with, a lot of times nowadays when even the best of college quarterbacks get put in those positions, being picked number 1 overall. They're put in positions with coaches that don't really know how to utilize them and don't
put
really
in positions to fail.
Yeah, they're put in positions to fail. You look at Josh Rosen, just traded, hasn't even gotten a shot. Kyler Murray, he's done well for the most part, but he's
George.
4-9. Is Joe Burrow, when you look at him and how he translates to the NFL. Is this a guy that can go out and if he gets drafted by, say, the Bengals, can win a few games and maybe help that team get to a couple more wins that they thought they wouldn't get in year one? Like, is he a guy that you could see, translating in the NFL immediately?
I think so, because I would typically say, look, I'm a guy, I followed the Steelers as far as my favorite NFL team for my whole life, and look, I think that division has some wins in it if Cincinnati can get it together in an off season here. Joe Burrow obviously would be the first step towards that.
Dude, Duck Hodges came in there one game in that damn division, okay?
Exactly.
I mean, they got Baker Mayfield.
I think Baker and Cleveland are gettable. I think Pittsburgh is gettable next year because, look, I'm going to tell you what Pittsburgh's going to do. They're going to load it back and play it back here with Ben Roethlisberger again next year, with him being back healthy.
And they're going to go defensive strong.
I think it could go Eli Manning bad with Ben Roethlisberger coming back and being the guy next year at Pittsburgh for quarterback. Certainly, he's had a good last year.
Those are strong words, man.
Those 20 interceptions in the
Ben
season
could be a pick magnet next year, even though Pittsburgh will be ready to move on quick because, look, Connor has been a great back there. The receiving group they've assembled has been just excellent drafting. Pittsburgh's going to have to rebuild the offensive line. I don't know that that's going to get done in one off season. You put a guy like Big Ben back there who holds the ball too long. He obviously can't stomp around as well as he used to could back there behind the line of scrimmage. And so I think things could go bad. So I think Joe Burrow is the guy that can step in and make a difference. Cincinnati, and for what I'm about to say here, it's typically been done under Marvin Lewis. Obviously, he's not there anymore, but you have an offensive guy. And so maybe you can craft an offense around Joe Burrow. They've traditionally drafted well at receiver and traditionally drafted well on the defensive side of the ball. So I think that Cincinnati, obviously, they've always been ahead of Cleveland in this division. I don't know that Baltimore is going to be able to repeat what they've done this year, next year, and going forward. I love Lamar Jackson and what he's done. I told you guys on this very show I thought he'd be the best quarterback from that draft class. Yes. But I don't know that Baltimore recreates their dominance.
Well, can I tell you how they do it?
Next year.
Can I tell you? And I want to ask you something. I mentioned this to Gabe earlier, and I'm being dead serious when I say this. This is a guy who's projected right now to be a late 4th to 5th round draft pick, and I'm talking a guy who was there at the Heisman Trophy, and I'm talking about Jalen Hurts. Now, a lot of people are going to sit there and say to me, listen, Lamar Jackson talks about being a running back who can throw the football. Let's be real. This guy can throw the damn football. He gets rid of it with the quickness of the wrist. And the fact that he makes defenses so scared of him when he's running the football, he gets wide receivers so damn open and he hits them. He's completing over 66% of his passes this year, 66.8 to be exact, and he's rushed over for 1,000 yards already. But the key I think about Lamar Jackson is if you hear Mark Ingram, if you hear that defense, if you hear their coaching staff, they don't talk about him running the ball. They don't talk about him throwing the football. They talk about him as a leader of men. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts, since he's the first freshman in Nick Saban's career to start as a true freshman. Think about what I just said. The first
SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
And he was the Offensive Player of the Year. Then he loses his job to Tua Tagovailoa. He handles it like a damn professional. Goes out the next year, stays on the team, wins the SEC championship game. Helps them get back. Tua has a nightmare of a game against Clemson. Goes on to OU, and guess what? It's the first year Alabama is not playing in the college football Final Four, and every year Jalen Hurts has been in college football, he's made it to the Final Four. 32 touchdown passes, only 7 interceptions, 3,634 yards, and pound for pound, Jalen Hurts this year won the Strongman Award for OU. He squatted 600 damn pounds, okay? The man cares about his football team. The people fight for him. Do you think that CeeDee Lamb and do you think all those guys went out there and those linemen, what they did in that defense, let's just be real, that's the worst damn defense I've ever seen in college football ever, especially to make the college football Final Four. But they went out there and just did their damnedest because that man lifted him and elevates them. If you put somebody, and if Baltimore takes a risk and say in the third round gets a backup like Jalen Hurts, how good of that could be? Because Lamar Jackson is just one strong hit from being knocked out for a game or two. But if you had a leader of men who could come in and fill in and learn behind Lamar Jackson, the guy threw for 3,634 yards, 32 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. He rushed for 982 yards, another 9 touchdowns. I mean, he's a baller. I just got to say, like, is he not the perfect guy? And I think, sadly, if he goes to a Baltimore and learns and 4 years later becomes a starter maybe in a crazy system, who knows what the NFL looks like that, and a Joe Burrow, who's by far, in my opinion, the best quarterback right now coming out of college, if he goes to a Bengals situation, it'll be a nightmare.
Well, I mean, and certainly, look, that's what it happens for most times for the first round pick. Or the top overall pick. I think Burrow's got a shot, though. I really do. I think certainly Cincinnati could be in the midst of having a coach. I think if things don't go well in year one, and typically if they don't, then that's when quarterbacks sort of get swept away from the spotlight. Josh Rosen is a guy that Gabe mentioned a moment ago. I mean, but Burrow he's got all the fine-tuned abilities that I think the NFL teams are really intrigued about. I mean, when was the last time a quarterback like Burrow was talked about to be the top pick? No, it's the guy with the biggest, strongest arm, and I think Burrow certainly has plenty of arm, but look, he's a guy that they like his footwork. They like his ability to move around. They love the intermediate throws he makes, his IQ for the game, and his intangibles. So I think Burrow's got a lot of those things.
He can't beat out Dwayne Haskins. Can't beat out Dwayne. No. This is, and I just saw Gabe make this.
Well, Justin Fields, Georgia. I mean, there's certain situations where
no. Tell me what quarterback though did not beat out people, went to the NFL and started beating people out left and right.
I'd have to go back and look. I mean, it's not.
I'm just saying
not,
I like him. He did it 1 year.
The quarterback to do a lot of different things.
1 year, people. I'm just saying he did it 1 year, and everybody's acting like he went out and did it for 5 seasons. Baker Mayfield stunk. I think Joe Burrow is going to be better, but again, he started 26 games in his college career, and that's a very small sample size, and he got beat out by 3 quarterbacks until he went to LSU. That is just a simple fact of the situation. JT Barrett ain't playing in the NFL. I watched my man just in Washington couldn't even start earlier at the beginning of the years. Basically, Haskins looked great in the first half, blew it away. Listen, I think Joe Burrows is different. I like Joe Burrows, but what I'm just trying to say is let's not pretend that he was the number 1 guy coming out. Let's not pretend he's the Heisman quarterback champion. Joe Brady did a great job with that offense. They have a great defense. They have unbelievable wide receivers. They have a great offensive line. They have a damn good team.
Well, he played behind a banged-up offensive line for a lot of this season, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is certainly a good running back, but let's be honest, he was celebrated in big games against Ole Miss and Alabama. That's because, frankly, he's not at the level that some of those LSU backs have been in the past. I would say this. Look at our boy Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills.
He had 39 less hits than Tua Tagovailoa.
Josh Allen wasn't even good enough but to go anywhere to play but Wyoming in college. He only completed 56% of his passes his final year, his resume-building year in college, and he's a guy that's worked out in the NFL. The NFL is certainly not necessarily looking at, hey, you couldn't win the job at Ohio State, where they asked the quarterback to run much more. That's
exactly, and I say it's all about the coaching. That's why I brought up Joe Montana, and that's why I said that Bill Walsh made Joe Montana, and I'm going to ask you, who in the hell in the Bengals organization is going to make Joe Burrows? Because they don't have a coach. His ceiling for the Bengals, Zach Taylor will make him on his best damn day, Andy Dalton. That is not.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, by the way, when did you see the Bengals? I watched this guy named Boomer Esiason last time they played in the Deadgum postseason. Think about it. Do you know who Boomer is? Do you remember Icky Shuffle? That's what I'm saying. The Bengals have sucked so long that for some reason we think the Browns are the worst. Bengals just suck. And I'm just saying, if Joe Burrows go there, it will be the black hole of Joe Burrow.
That is quite a possibility.
It's not the best situation for him to go. I mean, certainly it's not the best situation for him to go. But, I mean, I will say this. Zach Taylor is a guy that he knows the kind of quarterback he wants.
He's not
a proven
Lewis.
head coach yet. But he is a quarterback coach. He's a quarterback guy. Cincinnati went and followed the blueprint of some of the other teams around the league last offseason that hired quarterback sort of focused coaches. And so certainly he's looking for a quarterback to partner up here with in this situation. And I think there's no better quarterback you can get than Joe Burrow. I mean, yes, it was one season. And you guys remember early in the year, that's what my thoughts were. But the thing about Burrow is you watch him, he is a finite, accurate passer, and he proved that this season. Certainly, he played behind a better offensive line, but this was his second year to start there at LSU. He wasn't that great, fantastic in his junior year. He was good enough, but he wasn't beating teams in the SEC like he did this year. I think you got to credit that progression. I don't think he would have necessarily been a world beater had he got to start anywhere in year one, but in year two, he was much better, and I think you see that with a lot of quarterbacks in the college game. And certainly, he didn't get a chance to get on the field and develop like a lot of guys did his first 3 seasons.
And he had to learn a completely new system for year two at LSU, and now they're the best team in the country. So, I mean, there's something to be said about the transformation of that program and what he was able to do to step into a new situation completely and be able to pick it up quick enough to be that good.
Again, I watched Vince Young have the greatest Rose Bowl in the history of the world, and he went and played for Jeff Fisher. I watched Jared Goff play for Jared Fisher. You play for bad coaches, you suck. I haven't seen a bingo coach.
And I'm not saying
I think that's the excitement here is that for Joe Burrow in the next level is that he's not sort of a college-made quarterback a lot like Vince Young was. I mean, Vince Young also had a release like he was a shortstop that a coach would need.
Yeah, but the MVP Lamar Jackson does too.
Exactly,
again,
Lamar.
You're missing the whole point.
Reconstruct an offense around
Coaching. All what I'm saying is it's very simple. Joe Montana didn't make Joe Montana. Lamar Jackson did not make Lamar Jackson. All these people who became the greatest of the greatest, yes, they had one thing in common. They were leader of men, and they could control a locker room. But you know what they had in their back pocket? They had a coach like a Seifert or a Harbaugh or a think about the great one.
And I don't think we're saying Joe Burrow is going to be a playoff quarterback year one, year two. That's not what the saying is. I'm just saying I think put him in that situation. I know Zach Taylor. We don't know much about him. We know that he's won one game all year. But in the end of the day, I think he, with Joe Burrow, could win more games than one and at least improve upon what they have. I mean, that's the point I think trying to be made.
You could argue that Zach Taylor is playing 4D chess here on us as well because, look, the Miami Dolphins had a chance to tank to get that top spot too. At least Cincinnati is actually successfully getting this number one pick. I think I'm with Gabe. I don't.
Can I ask you something real quick? I'm getting off the phone. I'm so late for a break. It's not funny. Carson Palmer, how good was he? He's 6'5", 240 pounds. He was a hellacious quarterback. He went to the Bengals. He took them to a playoff game. Is Joe Burrow Carson Palmer?
I think he's better on the next level.
Oh, really?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Wow, I disagree with that unequivocally. We'll talk later because I'm late for a break, Joe. Hey, John, I love you with everything in this world, but if Joe Burrows actually lives to be a Carson Palmer, then he's going to be one hellacious quarterback at the next level. Carson Palmer, I think people forget he just played with a crummy team. He was one of the best throwers of the football.
In a tough division.
Period. But we'll talk more about this. This was a fun topic. Hey, John, man, Merry Christmas.
You, guys.
I love talking with you, brother. And hey, do me a favor. Everybody check out John Luke at JL Grindin on Twitter. Always he's at the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. And always remember this, MemphisFarmers.com. We'll be right back because I'm so late for a break. Gabe's probably going to beat me up on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
When you're diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer,
a lot of questions run through your mind.
What am I going to do?
what are my options?
What did I do wrong?
We've had those thoughts too.
But some questions can help you move forward.
Visit findyourmbcvoice.com for an interactive guide to help you learn the next steps to take after an MBC diagnosis.
And how to ask the questions that lead to an open and informed conversation with your doctor.
Start finding your voice today
At findyourmbcvoice.com.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Heater trouble? Make your first call your last call. Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning and heating specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their special winter price for a heater tune-up is just $59, and 24-hour service is billed at normal rates. Your comfort is their highest priority. Contact airdoctorsofmemphis.com or call 901-598-HVAC.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
First Bank is here to help you, whether you're a business looking for a loan to expand or refinance an existing one, a homeowner looking for a mortgage or home equity line, a consumer wanting to finance your dream car, or wanting a competitive rate on your CD deposits. Let First Bank try to handle your banking needs. Stop into one of First Bank's 3 local branches today, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or check them out online at firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Have you started thinking about what to get your favorite lady this year for Christmas? Whatever you get her should carry a message, and that message needs to say how much she means to you. For 35 years, Mid-South men have been giving our jewelry-filled boxes which hold magnificent rings, spectacular precious gemstone bracelets and necklaces, high-fashion earrings and pendants created in 14-karat gold or sterling silver. She will get the message. When you give her a gift from Russell Brothers Jewelers, she will know you care about her enough to give her the finest there is. Beauty, quality, value, and service all go into our gift wrap boxes at Russell Brothers, along with the most exquisite jewelry anywhere. I invite you to come and enjoy the holiday atmosphere at Russell Brothers. Come see the wide selection of exquisite jewelry. Let us help you find the gift that tells her just how much you care about her. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Shackles, ball and chain. Listen to the whistle of the evening train. You know you bound to wind up dead. You don't head back to Tennessee yet. The rich man step on my poor head.
Rich man step on my poor head.
When you get back, you better butter my
Yeah, you better butter my bread. Make sure it's good butter, though. I want that good stuff. Speaking of good butter, go to that's right, and it's the best in the business, and it's at 3157. It's also at 680 North Germantown Parkway. It is your CBD store. And why do I call it your CBD store? Because they got 450, and they're all for you. They're there not to put you in a box. They're not to like put you in a little bitty, oh, hey, this is, well, you feel this way, or you feel this way, or you're going to do this way. No, that's what the medical field does. And that's why the medical field, and let's be honestly, insurance, in the nicest way I can put it, thanks, Obama, it sucks. Let's be honest. Doctors, do y'all know y'all took the Hippocratic Oath? I have not met a doctor in 2 years, and I have dealt with doctors. I have gotten cancer. I have dealt with them in every which way, and every single one of them, they forgot the Hippocratic Oath. They, honestly, the respect that I have for doctors in the last 3 years has gone down so bad. I think of them as about as dirty as lawyers. Or they're a lot worse than lawyers. Are you kidding me? They're basic scum. They charged my uncle $90,000 for a 30-minute procedure to put in a couple stents. 2 weeks after they put in, there's been an article that says stents are useless. Thanks for charging him $90,000 for a 30-minute procedure, you jerks. But that's why you don't have to deal with these jerks. You go to your CBD store, take care of your health. You start working it out. You get the book, The ABCs of CBD. Learn about your endocrine system. Learn about your body and how it heals. Don't just mask your pain by taking opioids. Don't just mask your pain. Find out what is bothering you and how to fix it. That's what your CBD store and that's what CBD and the marijuana plant are about. We've had this plant around for millions since the dead-gum beginning of time, but yet governments are too stupid because they wanted to make money for beer, tobacco, and big pharmaceutical companies. They wanted to screw the little man, and that's basically what they've done. Go to your CBD store. You'll be grateful you did. I promise you, CBD, it's the real deal. Holyfield. Now, I had a couple people text me. Carson Palmer took the Bengals to the playoffs. Yup. Again, Carson Palmer also never won a playoff game. Marvin Lewis never won a playoff game. Bengals haven't won a playoff game since they had Ickey Woods and, that guy Boomer Esiason. And basically what I'm just very simply trying to say, and it wasn't even being rude. Joe Brady this year made Joe Burrow what he was. If they didn't go get Joe Brady and they played the same damn offense that Ensminger ran last year, do you think he would have had different numbers? Do you really think it would have been that big of a difference? They were running the same offense they ran last year. No, they changed the offense completely. They used Drew Brees' offense. Drew Brees has come out and said, and by the way, he just beat Tom Brady. He just beat Peyton Manning. 541 touchdown passes in the season. And he said the best quarterback coach he's ever had in his life was who? Joe Brady. Who was the quarterback coach for Joe Burrow last year? Joe Brady. Okay. What, like, y'all can't do this? Y'all can't see that? And then if Joe Brady goes to the Bengals, the coach was Zach Taylor, he'll be a Bengal. And that's all I was trying to say is that Joe Montana and, even Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman, if he would have stuck with the hat, and believe it or not, all these people who want to kill, they constantly kill Jerry Jones. And they should. But at least he had enough brains in the beginning, and then he lost his damn mind. He did bring in Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest coaches of all time. If you don't realize, look at Bill Belichick. Yeah, he's a cheating SOB, but the dude wins. I'm just trying to say is you can bring in the best and the brightest of all. And if you think Cliff Kingsbury deserves his job, you're crazier than Cooter Brown too. But what I'm just trying to say is coaching matters. Coaching matters. Coaching matters more than you could ever know. Because if Joe Brady stayed at Ohio State, Joe Brady wouldn't be the first round pick. He wouldn't even have started this year. He would have backed up Justin Fields, just like he would have backed up Haskins last year. And we wouldn't even been talking about him, but he went and he took advantage of his talent and his opportunity, and he made the most of it, and he is to be commended. Commended. And Jalen Hurts, and still in my opinion, if he's lucky because he's not as good as Joe Burrow, he will not be taken first in the NFL draft, just like Carson Palmer, who was taken right off the top first in the NFL draft. When you go later to a good team, you usually have a better career if you haven't noticed. Look who was the last draft in the first round. What was that guy's name?
And I think that's where people that's agreed upon. I think that's understood that like going to the Bengals is not ideal. And I sort of mentioned earlier in the show that there's a lot of quarterbacks that have been preyed on in that fashion.
Joey Harrington, Aqib Talib. I mean, how many quarterbacks do I need to go through who had plenty of talent, could have played in the dead-gum lead, but had the worst coaching and never were anything? Casey Weldon. You can go on and on and on and on of quarterbacks that you probably never even heard of. But like I said, Jeff George had the best arm anybody's ever seen. He couldn't play quarterback with anybody because he never had a coach. Nobody else who could get in control with him. But you know what it's time to do? It's time to do my favorite segment of the day. But before we do, I got to remind you, it's very simple. 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Why do you want that number? Because if you want to buy a house, well, guess what? You need to sell your house first. If you have the bank calling and they're saying you need to pay your bills because we're going to foreclose on you, well, you need to sell your house now. If you need to sell your house, 901-406-1101. Simple as that. That's 901-406-1101. You call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Bing, bang, boom. I just sold your house. Let's go to Hardwood.
This is Access Hardwood.
Does anybody know what a penis fish is? Yeah, I said it. A penis fish. Yes, we are under attack. And I'm not talking about aliens, but penis fish are attacking everywhere. Y'all think I'm joking. I know y'all think I'm joking. I can already tell. I got a text. But there's a bunch of girls probably like heading down to California right now. 10-inch penis fish are blobbing up all over Southern California beaches. Also all up and down Mexico. Baja, Mexico, by the way. There's so many penis fish, they don't even know what to do. They said there was over 100 million penis fish who have built up and burrowed along the beaches of North America and Central America. I want you to think about what I just said. There's over 100 million 10-inch penis fish. Now,
I wonder why they're called penis fish.
All you have to do is look at them.
Do they resemble it?
Let me tell you something. They look just like a man's genitalia. They really do. Like, I can't even believe it. I really thought that the woman was holding a man's... I thought it was Lorena Bobbitt. And I was like, what is Lorena doing? Why is Lorena back on television? And how did John Bobbitt's get so preserved? And then they said, oh, no, that's a penis fish. I literally saw a penis fish. And then, you know what? I can never unsee it. By the way, did y'all know penis fish existed? I sure didn't. And I never knew that millions.
Do you know what their actual real name are called, or are you just going to call them penis fish? That's the thing. It's like
that's their
they
real
probably
name.
They're called penis fish.
That's their real name. Yeah, it says
no way.
Thousands of penis fish wash onto California beaches. I'm looking for another word. Penis
like if
fish,
a scientist was giving you like a lecture on these fish, he would call them penis fish. Is what you're saying?
It looks like it. Doctor, despite their nickname, it's a nickname. Penis fish is neither a penis nor a fish. In fact, it's a real type of a non-segmented marine worm, native only to the Pacific coast between southern Oregon to the Baja of Mexico. Now, the photos taken above. Now, it doesn't even, you know why we call them penis fish?
Because they look like male's genitalia?
Eurychus capu. That's their technical.
Penis fish is way better.
Eurychus capu.
Yeah, penis fish way better.
Yeah.
Eurychus?
Eurychus capu. Eurychus capu.
Eurychus for the penis
what
fish.
What in the heck? Yeah, what are you doing? Why would you call it a Eurychus capu? What is that? By the way, just so you know, there was an innkeeper woman who was one of the first to really go bananas on it, and she jumped on Instagram. And I'm telling you, dude, it might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life because she's screaming. She comes down to the water, and there's all these, and she thinks they're, if you ever gone to Crystal's
Crystals, like the restaurant. The
No. The sex
Oh,
shop.
no, I'm not.
Yes.
We were talking about two different things.
Yeah. She thought they were the things that you manufacture and like a boat had overturned. And she's like, oh my gosh, she was telling her husband before. It was so funny. She said, and I think I can say this. She said, I think we just had 10,000 dildos wash up on our shore. And they actually happen to be a fish. The things you learn on Hardwood, you never, ever know. We'll be right back. And I do want to remind you, though, 901-406-1101. If you need to sell your house, simple as that. 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. And always remember, I ain't playing no games with the pharmaceutical companies no more. I'm fighting against them. CBD is the real deal. Holyfield, get the book ABCs of CBD. Learn about your endocrine system. Learn about the way this stuff works for your body. And get back to feeling like you. Asta Manana Pharmaceuticals, Hello CBD. Your CBD stores got you at 3157 Poplar, 680 North Germantown Parkway. We'll be right back on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC accredited facility and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
Get to Holly Chevrolet in Marion because Chevrolet has announced employee pricing discount for everyone. You pay what we pay, not a cent more. Right now, save over $11,000 off MSRP on the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive custom trail boss. Or save over $9,000 off MSRP on a 2020 Chevy Equinox LT front-wheel drive. Stop by today and check out Holly's large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready for you to enjoy. And at Holly Chevrolet, it's a no-pressure, no-hassle environment. As a matter of fact, there's no Badgers. And never pay a dock fee. Find new roads at Exit 14 off I-55 in Marion, just 15 minutes from downtown Memphis, and online at hollychevrolet.com.
2019 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive custom trail boss, stock number N3564. 2020 Chevy Equinox LT front-wheel drive, stock number N4017. All discounts, rebates, and incentives are included and applied. Must qualify and finance with GM Finance Drive, a 2005 or newer GM product. Prices not include tax, tag, title, registration. Pay delivered by 12/31/19. See dealer for details.
Looking for a special something for that big and tall guy in your life? Here's a tip. Head to DXL, where you'll find hundreds of styles and designer brands guaranteed to fit and guaranteed to make him look great. Go to DXL.com to check out their new arrivals and sign up for exclusive offers. Need more ideas? Swing by a DXL store where one of their fit experts will help you choose the perfect gift. Easy, right? DXL Big and Tall. Built for giving at DXL.com.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not
when it comes to your car audio.
Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129.
With free installation.
Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
Do you suffer from pain, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, arthritis, and multiple sclerosis? You want an all-natural way to manage these conditions. Hempville is unlike any CBD store you've ever seen. It's not a one-size-or-brand-fits-all. Hempville has a variety of CBD applications and brand names. They have a well-trained professional staff to help educate you on CBD and what application is best for your individual needs. Hempville has 2 locations to serve you. South Haven at 562 Goodman Road East and Oxford at 1801 Jackson Avenue West. Hempville, where your relief is their mission.
Now, back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. Let's go! This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Hardin.
I hate stepping on you, Kurt, because you know I love you, Mr. Cobain. And I always say, all you need is words, baby. Oh, I love this song, Face of the Plateau. But I want to tell you all something. Speaking of the Face of the Plateau, we've been sitting here, me and my good partner, Gabe Kuhn, at G_Kuhn71. We've been rapping all day long, basically, about quarterbacks, about reality, about what we're watching as young people and what's unfolding. And the transfer porthole, and I don't think I've done a very good job explaining realistically where I'm coming from. The transfer portal, we watched the Heisman Trophy. You got 1, 2, 3 guys right there, all 3 of them. They started their careers at different schools. Justin Fields, he started over at Georgia. You had Joe Burrow, who started Ohio State. You had my man Jalen Hurts, who started Alabama. And you see that these quarterbacks are now transferring all over the country. And I'm wondering, and I'm being dead serious when I say this, because I still believe coaching. And I still believe that, Joe Montana owes a big debt of gratitude to George Seifert. I believe that, Tom Brady owes a big debt of gratitude to Bill Belichick. I believe that John Gruden, there was a quarterback back in the day that nobody even probably remembers him today, but Rich Gannon, career journeyman, who never ever got a chance because he was always too small, and he was a career journeyman. But you know what? He got the right coach. And you know what? He became the NFL MVP, just as Joe Burrow got Joe Brady and became the Heisman Trophy in college football. So all I'm trying to say before I get off the air today is, we watched what Freddie Kitchens has done to the Browns. We've seen the Bengals be bad for years and years and years. And I think Joe Burrow, in the right situation, could be Joe Montana or Rich Gannon, or he could be Troy Aikman or Jim Kelly, or, you know what, he could be a nobody. And he could end up being a Ryan Leaf. Or he could turn into I don't think he's going to sip on some syrup like Jamarcus Russell. But he could basically become, do y'all remember Tennessee? Do y'all remember Heath Shuler? Oh, greatest college quarterback ever. Heath Shuler went to the wrong situation. So I'm just saying, if Joe goes to the right situation, coaching matters. Just remember that. As we watch all this stuff unfold, coaching matters. That's why having Mike Norvell and going to Ryan Silverfield was so crucial. And always remember, if you want to look styling and profiling like me and Gabe, Frontier Western Store at FrontierWesternStore.com. That's right. Go to FrontierWesternStore.com right now, 24/7, 365. They're open. Frontier Western Store, but you have to head on down to down in Olive Branch, by the way, and I want to remind you, that's only 15 minutes away from anybody who can hear me at 5880 Goodman Road. They're family owned and operated since 1967. Frontier Western Store, proudly serving the Mid-South for over 50 years. You want to look good? Head on down there. And also check them out at FrontierWesternStore.com. Coming up next, we got Brett and Dave on Sports 56. And, by the way, I got to remind y'all one other thing. Get out there. Make the world a better place. See y'all on the flip side. Peace! And all these look today, and all we want to do is get back.
Join Sports 56 Middays this Friday from 10 to 1 at Classic